This is Anime Out of Context, a comedy review podcast hosted by a weeb of the highest order, alongside a cynical man who knows nothing about anime. Our show features spoilers, explicit language, and poor fact-checking. Neither of our hosts are experts on any topic, and none of their opinions should be taken as fact. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I imagine myself as a dark, heroic shounen protagonist, but I'm actually more of a little shoujo girl.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
You do realize you just said little girl, right?
Hey, listen here. I can do whatever I want here. It's a
bit like asking for non-bread, you know what I mean?
I'm fine with that. You know what? Hey, Dylan, just loudly and obnoxiously fill in something that makes sense for one of the girls. Like, just cut your own voice in there and just let it be. And that'll be the better explanation.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Remington, but that's fine. I rarely do these days.
All right, so what are we doing this week, Shaun? Last week we visited Mr. Gibbles. It was nice, it was wholesome fun, everything was great. And that, as always, worries me because when things are good, it tends to be the calm before the storm.
You know, that is very true, Remington. I do like to mix it up from time to time. I like to, sprinkle in some bad with some good, do some things that are both varied enough to warrant different conversations, because if we talk about the exact same thing week in and week out over and over and over again, people get bored. They like variety.
Which is why we're changing it up this week. In celebration of 101 episodes, we are doing 101 Dalmatians, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest anime of all time. Think about all of the anime dogs.
Cruella de Vil is best girl. I like those yanderes, you know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I am not dipping my hand into any proverbial Disney bin at the moment.
All right, but at least tell me that whatever anime we're doing, there's a dog, preferably a few, preferably up to 101.
A sliding scale, huh?
Yeah, 1 to 101.
What if I wanted to do the sequel movie, 102 Dalmatians?
Now we're just getting excessive.
Like all direct-to-DVD Disney sequels, a little excessive. But no, Remington, no. I ain't gonna guarantee any kind of Dalmatians in this anime. There is a possibility of some cute critters, quite frankly, in this one, though.
All right, I'm sold.
I say possibility. Like, if at most, maybe a cameo. It's not gonna be about cute critters. I'm sorry. We did a whole movie about cute critters.
Damn it. I know. That's all I find joy in nowadays.
Yeah, ever since we've been, locked up and tucked away out of society's eye.
Exactly. I'm stuck at home, and now the only solace I get when it comes to cute critters is when you send me pictures of whatever furry creature you have Dylan dressed up as in his cage. Some of them are a bit less cute, a bit more risque, but you know what? I'll take what I can get.
The really concerning thing about that, Remington, is I don't dress up Dylan in things. I did not know that was a feature, although I did lose my phone for several weeks at one point. That was
See, now we just need to wonder how he got them in his cage.
The real
That's
question
a mystery.
Is our editor a furry? That'll be the next conspiracy theory.
That's a mystery for another day. We'll sleuth that out as time goes on. Nonetheless, for this week, what are we jumping into, Shaun?
Well, Remington, this week I figured we'd jump into something that I've wanted to talk about for a hot minute, but didn't really have a good excuse to, aside from, the usual, I want to.
Yep.
And I figured I'd do one that would be nice, short, and easy this time around. Well, for me at least. It'll be interesting to see what you think of it, because ultimately, Rem, we're jumping into another isekai today.
Oh, no. Okay, so we're gonna have this whole isekai formula, and the thing with isekai, it's like, oh, that's a neat idea, and then it's just terrible from there. You get neat idea, and that's it. That's all. Have we had a good isekai yet? Because I'm struggling to think of one.
I mean, we've done, 100 episodes at this point. I'm trying to think
I know for a fact some of our worst, some of the ones I've hated the most, they've been isekais.
That is true. I mean, we did Konosuba, which you hated, but lots of people love.
Yeah, sorry, that does not qualify as a good one.
tell that to, you know, the thousands upon thousands of people who love that series.
All right, if there's an isekai I like, people remind me of it, because right now I'm struggling to think of any. What one are we doing today? Are they jumping into a generic fantasy world, or is it something a little bit different?
Well, it is a little different.
The way you say that makes me think that the emphasis is on the little different there.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about isekais. You know, there's so goddamn many of them. Like, we've only covered, like...
They're all the same.
Well, mostly, yeah. But there's a... The nice thing about isekais is, since there are so many of them, there is a chance that you'll find something truly nice, truly wonderful, and truly special mixed in throughout the bunch. Ever since, you know, the big isekai boom in 2012, 2013, that's just been growing exponentially ever since. We've gotten so much variety that there have been some genuine quality ones slipped in there. I do not consider myself isekai trash, but there have been several in the past couple years that I have genuinely enjoyed.
Is this one of them, though?
Oh, yes, actually.
Okay,
this is probably one of my favorite anime of last year, in fact.
Ooh, high praise. If only I valued your opinions more.
If you valued my opinions at all, Remington, we would not have this show.
It's true. That's just a true fact. All right, so one of your favorite ones from last year. What's the premise? Give me the broad strokes of it.
Okay, so stop me if you've heard this before. It's about a character that dies and is reincarnated in a different world.
By saying that, you've just made me remember the one good isekai.
Oh yeah,
Slime Reincarnate.
Yeah, Slime Reincarnate.
That is the one good. All right, so my question, you may know where I'm going. When they are reincarnated, is it as a slime?
No, don't be ridiculous.
All right, that's unfortunate. Continue.
Because I mean, it came out last year, and Slime came out in 2018.
Slime was a great, best isekai. So they die. What happens next? Where do they wake up, Shaun?
They wake up in bed.
Oh, is it their bed?
No.
How
well,
strange,
yes,
how
no.
mysterious. Things are different, things are ominous. Perhaps it is their bed, but their bed in hell, or heaven, or in some strange alternate reality where one thing is different, or maybe now they're just a ghost.
I mean, you must have been playing the isekai dartboard game, because that's basically how they usually decide these things.
I know, Shaun. I'm very aware already.
No. It's an anime that starts off about an isekai specifically that starts off about how you would expect. We get introduced to a character. That character dies, and they wake up in a strange place and have to learn about the world, and adventure ensues from that. What makes this one different is the fact that our main character. First of all, our main character is female.
All right, risky.
I mean, there are allowed to be female protagonists, Rem. You don't have to limit yourself to just guys.
No, I'm aware, and don't get me wrong, I like seeing female protagonists. There's an asterisk on that point, because many female protagonists, here's the thing, usually it's males who suffer from being a bland bitch protagonist, though it's possible with females. The problem is, with females, it's usually not just bland bitch protagonist, it's bland bitch, but hey, she's got big tits. And that is what usually ends up being for a lot of female protagonists, and that's unfortunate.
So you're saying that this is going to be a smut fest, is what you're predicting?
That is my concern.
Well, Remington, you should go to jail. You should go directly to jail, because that is fucked up.
What?
Because, Remington, the show we're talking about today, the main character is a girl that is reincarnated into the body of a young girl.
Oh no!
About if I remember correctly, 8.
Shit, I've done this to myself, really.
So the fact that you would even suggest such a thing, Remington, is heinous to say the least.
God damn. All right, so changing course very strongly. Hopefully, it's nice and wholesome. What I'm hoping for is that it's literally about the platelet from Cells at Work, and that's all. And that's the isekai I'm hoping for in the world.
So you're hoping that a platelet dies. I see. That's very interesting.
God
you know,
damn
a bit of a different opinion, I suppose, but you know, to each their own.
You mince my words.
Now you know how it feels. But no, Remington, the anime starts like that. She wakes up in the bed, suffering from a fever in a very strange world, apparently in the body of a small child. And the title of the anime we're talking about is simply called Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Okay. I am more confused.
Don't worry, I'll explain. Because, Remington...
I mean, one thing that I'm confident, it's unlikely to be a light novel, because that doesn't seem like a very light novel title.
It is a light novel.
Wow! they actually got a decent title. Good job.
Yeah, it's actually a really decent story too.
All
But I'm
right,
getting ahead
so-
of myself. So, Ascendance of a Bookworm, Remington, is starts off as any other isekai. The big difference here, though, is that our main character dies in a way that is probably going to be how you or I die. She dies being crushed by a massive pile of books.
Oh, I say as I'm like surrounded by literally hundreds of my books now.
I mean, yeah, one thing we have in common is we have sizable collections of books.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen my room, Shaun. It's just wall-to-wall, endless books. All
And
right,
I have so many books that I can't keep them in my room. Like it's a conundrum to say the least.
All right, so here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that like they either end up in a book or through multiple books and have to explore multiple different books, jumping from them, blah blah blah, and that's the general gist of it.
You want you want Reading Rainbow the anime?
Hell yeah, brother.
Amazing,
is it LeVar Burton? Is he the one who does Reading Rainbow?
It is.
Give me anime-ified LeVar Burton. That's all I
would
want
be
in the world.
so down for that. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
It'd be delightful.
And if you're gonna do that, might as well include Mika Burton as well, his daughter.
Oh, perfect. All right, yeah,
That would be what I would pay good money to see that anime. But no, Remington, no, it's not quite that level of advanced isekai. No. Ascendance of a Bookworm is about our main character, Motosu Urano.
I am gonna forget that.
It's okay, because she gets a name that you'll be able to remember more easily.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because she dies and then is reincarnated into the body of a young girl by the name of Mine.
Mine. Okay, good old Mine.
Yeah, and this is all a very strange and confusing circumstance, but it's very clear early on that Mine was a person in this world and had a mind and thoughts of her own. But it appears as though Urano has overwritten her.
Oh,
so,
just possessed this young girl.
either that or shunted the girl's soul out of the body. It's not
and
entirely
then it becomes
clear.
a Freaky Friday situation where then Mine is controlling her back in the normal world, and wacky shenanigans ensue.
No, it's more like the girl is dead. Yeah.
All right, so now she's in this body, and what is the world like on?
It seems like a pretty straightforward fantasy world. But the thing is Mine isn't like some prodigal child in a rich nobleman's family. Quite the opposite, in fact. Mine is a young girl, 6 or 8, somewhere in that range. I can't remember exactly which off the top of my head, because the story takes place over a couple years. And she is the daughter of a guardsman and lives in the poor district of a fantasy kingdom and is a incredibly sickly child.
Oh, this could be... Am I finally going to get my request of having an isekai protagonist that isn't horribly overpowered immediately?
That is correct, Remington, because...
Oh, hell yeah.
This is not a combat-centric isekai.
Oh my god, I'm all in. Wait, all right, and just to double it, because we've had combat-centric isekai, and then we've had other-centric isekai, and I just want to double down that it's not that other-centric isekai either.
Remington, she's 8.
Listen, I know, but anime gets weird, and it hurts
Remington,
me.
what is the matter with you?
This isn't...
What the actual fuck, Remington?
This is a problem with anime. This isn't me asking for it. This is me critiquing how often you have underage girls in anime being hypersexualized unnecessarily and how that's bad. I'm against this.
You're the one that keeps bringing it up, my man.
It's not because I want it. It's because I don't trust you as a person.
Hold on. Do you think I'm some kind of lolicon, Rem?
I mean, I've seen your Dakimakura collection, Shaun.
No, you haven't, because there does not exist.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
There's no wink. This is an auditory program, Remington.
All right, away from your fascination with lollies. All right, so it's just going to be focused on like existing and living more so.
Yes, because as with all of these fantasy style shows, you need to have a gimmick, right? For a lot of these isekais. But rather than having just like a singular overpowered gimmick and going throughout the whole show that way and being generic as fuck, Ascendance of a Bookworm has much more care about it than that, because the whole Mine has died and has been reincarnated into a body. She basically has a fresh start. And the one thing that we learn about her immediately is that she loves books.
Hell yeah.
Like, so Rem, this anime is probably what it would be like if you and I got isekai'd.
I'm all in. I think that this has significant potential.
Yep. And since she has died and has been reincarnated in a new world, she's confused at first, but is a very optimistic person, so quickly tries to take advantage of it. It's like, okay, I'm in a new strange place. I'm in a body that is not my own. I'm a fairly smart person, which she is. She has pretty close to a photographic memory for the most part. That's her isekai superpower, is a very, very good memory.
Okay.
And which, all of her time was spent reading, and all she cares about,
wait. Here's how it goes. This anime is just going to be done in the style of Slumdog Millionaire.
I beg your pardon?
So it's going to be all like, you get in a difficult situation, but then you remember this one piece of information that you received one time way back, and you're like, oh, this is super relevant for right now. You do it, it's all Gucci.
Actually, no.
No.
I got
it's a bit
more
blue balled.
I'm sorry I blue dogged your millionaire. Blue dog?
Oh, no.
Blue ball.
No. Don't blue dog me.
I'm gonna get a green striped sweater and we're gonna solve mysteries together. It's gonna be fine.
All right, so photographic memory, learning a whole lot.
Yep, and all she's ever wanted in her entire life is to be a librarian, have charge over as many books as she could possibly imagine. She had actually just barely gotten that job as librarian, which is what killed her. But now that she's in this new world, she's gonna take it as an opportunity to try again. Except there's one problem.
Yep.
This is a fantasy world set in a time period where books are kind of only for nobles, and most people don't really know how to read.
But she can?
No, not yet. Oh. Not at first, at least.
Oh, fair.
She has all of her memories of, her previous life, but all she wants, she says she'll be fine no matter where she is as long as she can read a book. Doesn't matter what the book is, as long as she can read a book,
All right, so it's a quest to become a librarian, get books, read books.
Yep, the whole story is about her goal of trying to get her hands on some books and read them, and eventually, when things prove difficult, to make them herself.
All right, well, I'm all in. This sounds like it was made for me. I'm optimistic, which is rare. Is there anything else I need to know before we jump in?
Honestly, Rem, this anime focuses primarily on world building, character development. It's very cute in its art style.
Hell yeah.
It's also a little traumatizing at some points, and it's and it's
Just sliding that in
possibly
there.
it's easily in my top 4 of last year, and I have yet to decide whether or not it's in my top 3 or not. Is basically how I wanted to slip it.
Okay, well, I'm excited to see if it gets up there for me as well.
All right, Remington. Then without further ado, let's go watch some Ascendance of a Bookworm. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming 6 whole episodes of the hit 2019 anime, Ascendance of a Bookworm. And Remington, this is one of my favorite shows of the past year, probably my favorite isekai of that past year. And you've made some comments before recording to peek behind the kimono a little bit. So you're on thin ice. Let's see how you feel about things.
I right before recording, I decided to frustrate Shaun, which is always a smart move when he controls what we're going to record next time once we're done with this episode. So when it comes to Ascendance of a Bookworm, I want to say I have very good opinions about it, very favorable overall. There is one thing that people are going to be very angry about, very, very angry about. But we'll get to that. We'll save that for the end. It'll be the nice little cherry on top. Everything else, I think, will be quite amicable. People will enjoy and agree, and everything will be fine until that moment.
Oh God, Remington, you are setting us up for failure. And
I mean, isn't that just my perpetual state?
yes, but I would prefer it if I could be angry at you while you're here in person, so I can actually murder you.
Shaun, just like anime, I can always get worse.
Okay. That's the kind of episode we're doing here. All right. Okay, then, Remington, let's get into it. What are your thoughts on Ascendance of a Bookworm?
So things open up, and they do what many shows do, like a flash forward before flashing back, right? And the flash forward was fine. As I've watched more, I think it was broadly unnecessary, and I can tell it was like to hook you into it. But it just, I don't know if it was wildly necessary. That being said, then we see Mine in her environment. We also get a flashback to what she was like in the normal world. And the flashback, wildly stylized in a very pleasant manner. Like, I really enjoyed the artistic style from there. It was sort of like a stained glass paper craft style almost, in a very strange, disjointed way. I was all in on it. Really enjoyed
very
that.
fairy tale.
Yeah, I appreciated it, and it plays with styles a bit, this show does. And I always enjoy shows that play with different styles. It shows that they're willing to diversify themselves a little bit, willing to push their comfort level a little bit, and that shows thought and effort. I appreciate that. Very early on, another thing Mine does, when she sees the others in this world around her, she calls out protagonist hair in all of them. She's like, wow, these are some wacky colors. It's like, all right, you got a little bit of self-awareness going on. That's a thumbs up from me. And the first episode, pretty straightforward, lays the foundations. A lot of what you were saying, she's figuring out about the world. The end bit is also nice. The little closing credit sequence, once again, very artistic, very nicely styled, very pretty. And so yeah, for the first episode, it's basically a lot of what you covered already in part 1 of the podcast, but very pleasant overall. Real solid first episode. It's charming, it's enjoyable, it's creative and thoughtful. Thumbs up to the first episode. Things are going well.
Okay, all right, we're starting off strong. That is a good sign.
So then we get to episode 2. In episode 2, Mine decides her hair fucking stinks. She lives in a stinky medieval world. Fuck that shit. Which I understand. Relatable. And so she invents shampoo. And one of the things that she invents, like, she does a couple things in this episode that shows her inventive qualities. But she invents shampoo, and one thing that I like is the detail of actually showing clean hair as opposed to normal hair in an anime style. Because the vast majority of shows would be like, wow, the hair is so clean, and maybe you would get like one screen grab where it's like sparkling a little bit, and then it would just look the exact same as it always does, right? Which isn't terrible, but that's what most shows do, and it just feels a little bit like lazy, and you're like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. But this show, it actually keeps a very consistent style so that you know what hair is clean and what is not. And that is such a minor, small thing, but it shows that they care about those sorts of details. It shows that they're willing to think those things through, and that even small effects have consistent ongoing effects from them.
Yep, and that stays consistent throughout the entire series, especially with Lutz in particular, who doesn't get his hair cleaned as frequently as Mine and her family, but when Mine forces him to get his hair clean, it is very stark and very apparent, and helps add to the scene that he's in overall.
Yeah, something else that I started really enjoying is that occasionally Mine will sort of like talk to herself or think to herself, and it'll turn into a self-referential chibi, and that was very charming. That was cute. She'll turn into a self-referential chibi, usually discuss knowledge that she used to have in the normal world, and will often end things with a Yahoo, and it's great. Really nice, really pleasant.
Yeah, Mine is very charismatic for being a fairly introverted bookworm.
Well, yeah, one interesting thing is just how wildly eloquent the children are in this world. Not just Mine, because Mine, you can have an easy argument for why she's so eloquent, because she was like a proper well-read adult before this. But even like Lutz, right, or Ralph, or any of them, they're just so eloquent. They're using such advanced language here. It's like, that's pretty impressive for a 5 and 6 year old.
Yeah, I mean, a lot can be said for the difference in education from a fantasy perspective, because a lot of times in different fantasy books and locations, especially with a medieval-esque setting, the kids will have to learn to be a bit smarter, a bit quicker, and that is a very common trope to find in fantasy heavily featuring young folk.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm okay with having them be a bit smart, a bit eloquent, because it makes things, it smooths things along, and as long as it's a consistent rule, you can follow your own type of logic, and that's fine. Then mine, she's on a hunt for books. She learns that books and paper, they are expensive. They're only for nobility, and she lives in a nice poor family. It is around this time where she just comes up with a casual idea, essentially communism for books. And that is an idea I think we can all get behind. That is going to be my political platform from this point forward. Communism for books.
You're gonna have to elaborate a bit on that, man, because that's gonna scare some people.
She just says how wildly unfair and unequal it is that only the rich are allowed these great things, and that system should be abolished, and everyone should be allowed to have books. And you know what? Yep, all in. I'm all in there with mine. Communism for books. That is the system of governance I want.
I feel like there's a better way to phrase that, Remington.
Hashtag communism for books.
That'll never trend. We may not know much about social media, but I can guarantee that'll never trend.
Please tweet us at AnimeConPod, hashtag communism for books.
Please don't.
And so then we go into the next episode. Once again, we have mine creating new things. She creates the equivalent of like pancakes. She starts making clay tablets, all of these different things. And this is like a very small flaw, but a noticeable one that I think starts to be presented around this time. It risks presenting society around her as a bit dumb. And I don't mean the specific individuals. I just mean everybody around it. For example, like they eat some of the Peru plant pulp, right? And that's traditionally been bird feed. And she's like, oh, it actually tastes pretty good, even in its present state. And if you want to pretend that no one would ever have tried the pulp before, you're just ridiculous. We all know how people work. We look at society today. People are willing to try stuff that is not edible, that very much is not edible. So I imagine if something is edible, they'll try it, they'll figure out it's good. And because we're humans, if it tastes in any way good, we will come up with a recipe for it. And so that's a small example, but at times it risks presenting this society at large as just uncurious entirely. I don't think it's a major issue. They don't always do this. However, there are definitely times where it's like, is it gonna be like that? Would no one have ever tried anything like this before? And so that is just a minor gripe about things.
I mean, to be fair, Remington, a lot of this stuff is set in like very early Middle Ages stuff, and if you look back at our history specifically, there's a lot of instances where there are some obvious things that we feel like, why didn't anybody do this sooner? Still never done. It's just a combination of tradition and not having the exact desire to do so. It could have been something as simple as, hey, we found out that chickens like to eat this stuff, and it's cheap and easy to get, and we can make use of the other parts of the fruit, so might as well just keep using it as a cheap and easy source of chicken feed.
I mean, you can certainly come up with like explanations like that, but when it consistently happens, especially when mine will consistently be like, oh yes, thank you, ancient civilization, for this development, and that just shows like, was there not really much of a previous civilization before this one? Does this have no history? Once again, not a super major gripe, but I definitely think that it diminishes that a bit. Not even at all times. Some of the inventions, like I think the shampoo thing, handled very well, makes some decent sense in how it was presented. Cool. Using some modern knowledge for that. But taking the pulp of a plant that tastes good and the pulp tastes good and using that for food, that seems a little bit more of a stretch. Then also in this episode, you get a bit of a fatherly rivalry because mine starts to learn a little bit about writing her name and things from one of her father's coworkers, basically another soldier. And his name is Otto, great dude, and she learned some stuff, and she tells her dad, yeah, it was tons of fun. Otto is a great dude, and the father has like now this fatherly rivalry with Otto because he wants to be like his daughter's hero instead. And that was charming. That was pleasant. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, every father kind of wants to be the hero of their kids, I feel like.
Yeah, and the overall arc, like it's pleasant, it's amusing. I always like seeing those familial bonds it's a nice dad. His insecurities we can understand, we can sympathize, and the fact that they're over the top just makes them more charming.
It's a very Maze Hughes-esque approach to fathering, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. In the next episode, I started to get this concern. So once again, mine is just coming up with ideas on how to write, how to maybe make paper, how to tablets, etc., all these different writing systems. And it was at this point I worried that some things might just be a little bit too easy for mine. Fortunately, in episodes 5 and 6, there are some more obstacles, but I feel like episode 4 was a relative cakewalk for mine, and that it was either, well, obviously she can do this and it's all just fine, or else random thing came up, or it's just because you're real frail. And so it would be random chance, frailty, or success. And those are the only three things, which doesn't prevent a very complex narrative. Once again, this, in the other 2 episodes following this, they did a better job. It was just in this one, it was presented as a bit of a worry for me. And I definitely think that it's still something that could be like in the back of my mind, even though I don't think it's as big of a deal now.
Okay, interesting perspective. But Remington, it sounds like we basically got through all 6 episodes really quickly, and you haven't really complained about much except for your usual nitpicky things.
It's true. Like, the show, it has good timing, it's charming, it's fun. One weird bit happened at the very end of episode 6, and I'm not sure if I like the direction that this is going, because mine, she'll have a fever, and it's a weird fever, right? A bad fever. And at the end, it's revealed that it's something called the devouring. And here's my concern. I don't want this to be a super intense dark show where the devouring is a major element. That's not what I want from this so far. And so I'm worried. That it's a concern.
I mean, it is definitely a major part of the world building. It is.
I just don't want edgy, intense bullshit in this show. I don't know if it would work as well as I'd want it to. It seems a bit incongruous to where it's generally heading. I don't know, man.
I should not have stopped you at 6 episodes.
I'm skeptical.
Oh, goodness. Because, okay, the devouring is a major plot point and motivating factor for her in the future. So that it is a plot point. It's not like super dark edgy as much as it's a condition.
I mean, it is called the devouring.
Yes, because it's...
You gotta admit, that's edgelord as fuck.
Yeah, but it makes sense in the realm of the magic system that they are developing in this.
Yeah, and that may be fair. Once again, it's not. It's like a potential concern rather than an actual flaw. I haven't seen it far enough to see how it's utilized. It's just, given how it was presented, it's a bit like, oh no. But nonetheless, overall, this show, absolutely delightful, very enjoyable. I think the vast majority of people would have a good time with it. I'm totally fine with labeling this as like the second good isekai that we've ever seen and ever done. You got mine, you got Rimuru. There we go. That's the list. Those are the two good people who've been isekai'd, which I guess means the first step is you gotta die. Like, you can't just get isekai'd through a magical world, through like a portal or a video game. You gotta die. That's what we're learning. You have to die.
I mean, the main character in Konosuba died.
Well, and that goes, you have to die, but that doesn't mean that it'll be good.
Okay.
But Shaun, going through those 6 episodes, very pleasant. I've sung its praises quite a lot. I did say there was going to be something that was going to anger a lot of people.
All right. Okay.
I want you to remember, way back when we did a show that I would like to remind everyone I liked, called Violet Evergarden.
Oh no, here we go.
In Violet Evergarden, I pointed out multiple times that I liked that show. However, I did bring up a certain critique, and it angered a lot of people. This is going to be similar to that.
Uh-oh.
So, I think that with Ascendance of a Bookworm, it has very weird-looking fire. Now, I know that many people are gonna get angry. Oh, just like Violet Evergarden, and saying the water looks weird and out of place. How dare you? How dare you insult the fire of Ascendance to a Bookworm? You don't understand the poetic, the metaphorical, the deep lore behind it, how much it's meaningful. No, I'm gonna say it looks a little bit weird. The rest of the show, absolutely beautiful, very pretty show. The fire looks a bit weird, especially that first scene that shows the fireplace. No, there's something janky about it. Don't like it. I think that's like the one visual flaw in the show. I'm willing to be put on the cross. I understand everyone's, I'm sure, furious, but I need to get that off my chest.
Oh, God. For once, Remington, you're trying to start a controversy where there is none. I think most people will agree the fire's a bit odd looking.
Oh, hell yeah, finally. I am redeemed.
Like, it's not offensive by any means. I don't mind it, but... This is your big complaint with the show?
Yeah, I mean, Shaun, I've learned that apparently the weebs don't like it when you insult janky-looking elemental qualities. I insulted the water in Violet Evergarden. People got pissed about that. Now I'm
primarily
insulting the
because
fire.
Violet Evergarden is a show widely renowned for having some of the best TV animation in history. That's why people got upset.
I said that it was a very, very pretty show and that I liked it. The water was real janky and weird looking, though. Similar fire in this, not great. But really, I don't have too many like major concerns about it. I think like with some of the concerns that I've lifted, like it risks some people appearing in some society appearing a little bit stupid, and that maybe at times it might be a little too easy for mine, as well as the concerns that might get a little bit edgy. Those do slightly diminish it, but I'm probably looking at like an 8 out of 10 rating for Ascendance of a Bookworm. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, no, honestly, your concerns are valid, but I honestly don't think they hold any weight. With things being too easy for mine constantly comes into contact with setbacks and things that keep holding her back. Like I said, like her only advantage is her knowledge of modern technology and her incredible memory. That's basically all she's got going for her. Everything else is a matter of circumstance and her physical weakness. The devouring itself becomes a more tangible thing that really puts into perspective the dangers of living in this world and the dangers of mind's condition in and of itself and what needs to be done to deal with it.
I don't know if I want to deal with the dangers. I don't know if I want to be like, oh, is she gonna survive? Is she gonna make it? I right now, I'm just enjoying a pleasant show where a real young girl is struggling to write books and make stuff and live in the world, and that's it. And that's pleasant. That's enjoyable. I want it to maintain its slice of life qualities, and I don't want it to turn insanely... I like it goal-driven. I'm worried that if it becomes too plot-driven, it might get a bit muddled.
It is entirely goal-driven throughout the entire thing. There's just new goals as things go on. Like, mine's original goal of making books and giving them to everybody is a constant, but of course it's not as simple as that, unfortunately, and as the plot progresses, more challenges arise that challenge mine in different and interesting ways.
I'm going to tentatively believe and accept that, and so I remain optimistic that the show continues to be a good one. So far, been quite impressive. Saw almost half of the first season. Real good. Thumbs up. I would recommend people watch it. Would encourage people to check it out because it's definitely worthwhile.
I mean, it was so good that it got a second season literally almost a season and a half after its first season ended. So if
that's fair.
If that's not a testament to its speed and quality with the sheer quantity of anime that are coming out these days, it's quite a lot.
Yeah, I definitely think this is the type of show that's like, yeah, you know, a second season's well-deserved. As long as it doesn't last forever, because anime that last forever are, say it with me, terrible.
Okay, you do realize that there are literally thousands upon thousands of people who heavily disagree with you, right?
Hey, it's okay that they're all wrong. There were thousands of people who supported Hitler, and you know what? I disagree with them too. There are thousands of people who agree with many things that I think are absolutely silly.
Okay, so you think Pokemon is a terrible series then?
No, I think Pokemon was quite solid. It's not that I always disagree with many people.
So you think Yu-Gi-Oh is a horrible, god-awful series then?
I mean, that one is so bad that it's amazing.
So you think Dragon Ball Z is one of the worst series to ever be created?
I don't know. We'll have to watch it again. Childhood me liked it, but there's a really good chance it has a lot of ingredients I don't like. So I don't know how.
What, the grandfather of modern shonen? Hard to think.
Yeah, it's a genuine concern because I feel fondly towards Dragon Ball Z.
And if that opinion changes, people will come and kill you, Remington. Like,
I know.
Actively. There are more diehard Dragon Ball fans than there are Republicans.
That's the metric. Dragon Ball Z fans across the globe versus Republicans in America. I don't know. If anybody can find that statistic, send it to us and compare. Because it might be pretty comparable actually. But yeah, nonetheless, Ascendance of a Bookworm, thumbs up. Definitely getting a good review.
Okay, good. Oh man, I feel really good about this, Remington. Hopefully, we'll do a revisit in the near future so that you can finish up the first season and see how you finally feel about it. Because honestly, I can understand your concerns, and I know that not everything is going to go the way you want it to go, Remington. But you have to understand that after finishing that first season, I still love the show immensely, even though I had some similar concerns myself. And I am heavily enjoying the second season as well. I don't know how they could possibly fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up.
I mean, things have been more surprisingly fucked up before, so it's always possible.
I mean, yeah, I tried showing you beloved classic anime films, and you have to throw rocks at them just to make sure that people realize that you're a bad person.
That's what I'm here for, Shaun.
All right, then, Remington, without further ado, I have one final question to ask you. Would you, by chance, want to watch some more Ascendance of a Bookworm with me?
I would gladly watch more with you, Shaun. Really nice show, very pleasant, heavily recommended.
Fantastic. Now then, before we get out of here, we do have a little bit of house cleaning that we need to do. If you really enjoyed the content we produce, then I have a couple ways for you to support us. We have a Patreon, and on that Patreon, you can gain access to all kinds of exclusive bonus content, as well as getting your name shouted out on this very podcast. And Remington, who are some of the lovely people that have decided to support us?
Well, of course, we like to send our thanks out to all the Bland Bitch protagonists as well as the magical girls who support us, but the ones who get a shout out start out with our crazy wild yandere waifus. We have Sarah Birch and Miles to Go, Kazu Morocco, Leos123, Hayden Lecker, Anonymous Gamer, Ultimate 5401, Juliana, Salty Pretzel, Glenn Michael Dolan, Ross Palmer, Jacob Livingston, Xerix, H-Wood, Kyle Likes Bikes, Farmer Weeb, Alexander Nacienseño, That One Weeb, Chuck 57, Andrew Rowicki, Grant Firetype, Matthew B, Devin McCutcheon, Chris Salas. Thank each and every one of you. You guys are phenomenal. We really appreciate it. But that is not all. We move one step above. We wander on over to the hallowed halls of Hogwarts, where we get to our boy wizard tier. We are going to cross Mordor. We are going to represent the hobbits here. Yes, and we start that out with a great hobbit, Brady Weinbarger. Then we move on to an elf friend who is Chase Fredette. Then we move on to a wizard, Delina Perez. Then we move on. There we go. Those are our boy wizards. Phenomenal, each and every one of you.
I can't.
Very impressive.
I can't tell which part of that to be angry about.
Probably all of it, frankly. And then we move to the very peak, the pinnacle of all glory and gratitude. We hit the White House at the Chefanomusco tier. Of course, we have the patron saint of the podcast himself, none other than Saint. Then, on the flip side of things, we've got in the boiling, burning fire, the almighty sinner. Then we have Zachary Shirley. Surely he is running. I don't know. I'm running out of them. I'm struggling, Zach. Then we have.
You know what, Remington? I'll make you a drink. How about a Zachary Shirley Temple? How does that sound?
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Then we have Cassidy, Justin, just in case I mess up some more in the future. Then we have Theo, Noel. It is Noel. You were correct, Shaun. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, because I understand how fucking language works. Thank you.
Then we have the Silken Spectre. I'm not gonna address what I did last time. It's fine. It's definitely not lewd.
Yeah, you
then
you
we
definitely
have,
made a bit of a booby of yourself, so it's fine.
Hey, then we have Take Your Damn Money, Dylan. Those are Dylan's mob connections that we mentioned previously. They've made it into the White House, quite prestigious mob connections. And finally, last but not least, we have the Touchy Diplomat. Silicon Spectre may not be lewd, but the Touchy Diplomat, he definitely has something up his sleeve, if you know what I mean. And so...
Hopefully it's better than what we got.
Each and every one of you, we want to send our thanks and appreciation. It blows our mind that we can do this and that we can actually make some money on it and that we can continue making this consistently, even with everything going crazy as it is. We so strongly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you want to support us but you do not have any extra cash lying around, that's fine. We completely understand, believe us, especially with the events going on currently. But if you still want to support us in some way, I know what you can do. You can go on to your Apple Podcasts, your Podbean, your Stitcher, your Spotify, whatever podcasting platform you listen to, and just leave us a review on it. You know, for some reason, that helps us grow exponentially. I don't know the exact specifics behind it because I'm not, an economics major, but I understand that the more stars we get, the more people get to see our debauchery. And if you also want to help us grow, word of mouth is an excellent way to do it.
How well put. You're almost as eloquent as the 5-year-old Shaun. And if you would like to contact us directly, whether it is for a question, comment, feedback, or recommendation, then you can either tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Remember to love each other, and as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do, 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 do.